Okay. All right. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hope everyone is having a good week. Get started here. All right. Yeah, so welcome everyone to Stammer AI Agency Office Hours. We typically will go over our latest updates and things like that, but today we don't have too many new updates today, so we'll just be going over some general stuff and some Q&A, as well as asking some questions about our new voice functionality, and I'll go over more of that in a minute. But I always like to remind people, especially because we get a lot of questions about all of our support options. So if you go to Stammer AI/support, all of our support options are available to everyone, whether it's reading our documentation, submitting a support ticket, joining our weekly office hours like this call, or joining our daily support call, which is in about 30 minutes from now, every Monday through Friday, as well as our public roadmap and our changelog. This is where all of the latest updates and things you can find. We've been working on a lot of stuff, so we should have a couple updates here shortly, but everything that we update on the platform will be available here, and as well as all of our videos and tutorials that are uploaded on our YouTube channel. So all of that's available. If you're interested, definitely take a look at all of that. So like I mentioned earlier, or just a few seconds ago, we're gonna do more like question and answer stuff today, as well as going over some of our questions for voice. We've been working on our voice side of the platform very intently over the last few weeks, and we've started to do some reach out to a few of our customers to get people's feedback and see how different agencies are starting to implement this into their businesses for their clients. So if you're interested in that as well, and we haven't reached out to you, let us know in the chat or put your email in the chat, and we'll have Drew reach out to you. That being said, the goal of getting the voice side of the platform out initially is going to be the inbound side of things. So basically, what this means is if a customer or a lead or somebody is going to call the business, they are going to be able to talk with an AI agent. And very similar to the chat side of things, the AI will be able to talk with that customer, figure out what it is that they're trying to do, potentially ask them questions to figure out if they're a lead or an existing customer, and then be able to take actions based off of that conversation, whether that's logging that information inside of a CRM or doing other versions of custom functions and custom actions. For just to give a couple of examples, so for the few businesses that we've already deployed this, we've been seeing how it works with like dentist office and construction contractors and things like that. So for example, for the dentist office, for example, when a person calls in and let's say the person at the head of the office is checking somebody in physically and the phone starts ringing and they're not able to pick up the phone within 2 to 3 rings, the AI agent will be able to pick up that phone call and then be able to talk with the customer, figure out if it's an emergency or not, and then be able to log basically all of their answers and information, and then be able to send that as a notification to the person at the front desk. So that way they can either call that person back or they can take actions like further schedule a meeting or update that person's appointment if they want to change the appointment, things like that. If there is a custom function or a custom action built in, this will be able to do things just like with custom functions inside of the chat area, where it'll be able to schedule meetings, update the CRM, kind of get availability, all those great scenarios. On the flip side, it's very similar to this office example, like a contractor. Let's say a contractor is um, on a job and they're not able to answer the phone. Same type of idea where the AI agent can answer and talk with that person, figure out what type of job they want, and then that can be updated into another system. Now, the one caveat for all of this is the the phone, it's like which phone number is the end user actually calling in the first place. And this is going to be dependent on a couple of different variables. And this is some of the feedback that we've been collecting over the last like 2 weeks or so from existing clients that we've been talking to. And so I'll definitely open this up to anybody who's been dealing with this already. But there's kind of two methods here. The first is if a business already has an established phone number. And we saw this firsthand with both the contractor and the dentist office, where both of these businesses already have existing phone numbers for their customers to call. And they don't want to have to remake all of their marketing materials or their business cards or reminders and all that good stuff. So the way that this was implemented for them was their existing phone system had the ability to do call transfers. That call transfer system would say after 10 seconds or 8 seconds or after 3 rings, it then gets transferred to this other phone number. And that other phone number would be the AI agent phone number. And so that's kind of how that integration worked. And this is already where we're seeing some concern from agencies, as well as like kind of how this will be implemented in the real world. If the existing system has that functionality, then it'll work great and there won't be any problems. And the cool thing is most CRMs and existing call systems that we've looked into so far have that built in. So things like GHL, which is one of the go high level, one of the examples and use cases that we use all of the time, that has that feature built in, which is going to be very useful for these types of use cases and examples.
Yeah, and Ross, one thing I want to say really quickly, the easiest sell that we've learned, because the dental office has had these underlying technologies deployed for about 6 months now. And honestly, the easiest sell is replacing their existing voicemail system because you don't have to take over any other systems or do any kind of complex integrations. You just route the number to the number that you're going to provide to them based on using their business phone system. Most of them have these capabilities to just route unanswered calls to another number. And the dental office has been so impressed with just having the ability to receive a transcribed voicemail. It saves them so much time because they can just look in it quickly, not have to listen to a 2-minute voicemail from a salesperson that's trying to sell something to the dental office. They're just able to look at it quickly, see if it's a patient, get the information they need, and then they can respond back via text message with their existing systems or simply call the person. And that's the easiest sell, to be honest.
Definitely. Yeah,
It's
and
simple, but I mean, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, that's so simple. It's just replacing voicemail." But it's the key use case, and that's the thing is the easiest things to sell are usually very, very simple.
yeah, and the most beneficial to the end business. And that's where I think I see a lot of agencies try to overcomplicate things, is trying to do all of these complex integrations and things when in reality it's what you just said. It's the simple integrations. For the contractor, it's basically the same thing, being able to have the transcript and then within the analytics and summary, it can extract information from that transcript and then update a CRM to have further automations and things like that. So very similar use case. And this also, of course, works 24/7. So in the middle of the night, things like that, you're never going to have to worry about missing a lead ever again. Okay, so got a couple questions. Yeah, so the beta test that we're doing right now is for agencies based in the US. The system is using Twilio, which is available worldwide. So it should be available in Europe when we do our initial release of it. But just like this beta testing that we're doing, we're trying to focus in on US phone numbers and businesses right now. That being said, Amir, Curious to know like if you have an existing client looking for this, or what type of business or niche they're in.
Yeah, in
Um,
theory, we could support it. As Ross is saying, there's no reason we couldn't. It's just we decided to focus on the US. But Amir, do you have a customer lined up who you could deploy this to now, or you just want to offer it?
yeah, because that's been basically the criteria is we're talking with want to offer. Got it. Cool. Yeah, and it should be way sooner than 3 to 4 months. We're planning on doing the initial deployment where it allows you to connect any existing Twilio account and Twilio number. So that will work if you have your existing numbers set up there. That being said, like the reason why we're doing beta testing with US-based agencies is these guys already are using other voice systems. They're already using Twilio. They're already using AI voice in some way, or their customers are they have like customers that are already willing to pay for it. So that's kind of why we're focusing on it because we can actually do these deployments for them, work alongside them to
Right, and we're
do
and
these.
we're much more familiar with the US based phone system, so
Yeah.
that's just one of the reasons we're doing that.
Want to focus on medical niche. Yeah, that should be feasible. There will
So
be
Amir, yeah, what I would do if I were you, for one thing, research the privacy laws in your region to understand when you have your Twilio account set up, what you'll need to have it set up properly. Meet those privacy laws. So do that research, but then also go out and start trying to find a customer. There's nothing stopping you from telling them, hey, I have this technology. We can deploy an AI voicemail for you easily. That will be launched soon, but I just want to see if you're interested in this and try to have someone lined up.
I hope I can say a few words. Uh,
Yeah,
first, first of all, thank you. And I already made some research about it. It's quite harder with chatbots in that niche than voice agents, like for scheduling appointments, to like inbound, outbound, and it should be not so complicated like chatbots because of the privacy in that niche. And I have one or two potential clients where I told that maybe in 1 or 2 months that will be relevant. So that's why I'm asking, is there any chance until August, September that is also available for EU market?
it's possible. Yeah, we'll have to see how the beta goes, but we do plan to roll this out everywhere that it can be supported. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, until that I will keep focusing with chatbots. I just few days ago I created a company and yeah, in few days I think I will have 1 or 2 new first clients. I hope it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's great to hear. Yeah, we'll
thank
we'll,
you.
def we'll definitely keep you updated on that, and we'll make sure when we do our full release, we'll make it very clear on where everything is supported and updates on all that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. And he says, "Hi team, I've been really looking forward to the release of the model with live web search support. It's a key feature I've been eagerly waiting on for some time. Just wondering, is there any hope it will be released this week, or is it still a bit further out? Definitely not going to be released this week. It's on the stack. We are just prioritizing some other things based off our agency feedback. But that being said, thank you for letting us know that you're eagerly waiting for that, and we will uh, we will continue to keep that moving up the stack, and we'll keep working on that. When I know Tim has a bit more on this, but it is a core functionality update, but it should be relatively easy to implement. A lot of the issues when it comes to things like this is yes, it's easy to implement, but we also have to think about how it affects the entire structure of the three different levels of the business in terms of things like billing and permissions and functionality like that. So typically when we look at functionality updates and things like this, they're fundamentally easy, but then because of the multi-layered white labeling system, that's where a lot of the complexity comes into play. So making sure all of that works in the way that you guys would expect is where most of the time is being spent.
right, with rebilling, because we could easily turn that capability on in the platform and have it complete the web search in the back end through the API, and then you just kind of get the results of that web search, or the chatbot does. But the problem becomes so this would only work for people with their API key connected, and you would start getting charged by OpenAI for those immediately. And it is a bit more expensive. It's a lot more expensive than people think to run the web search. And so, how would you pass that on to your customers? So, we had to figure out the billing part so that you can be compensated as well
Yeah.
appropriately for those charges.
And then on top of that is the permissions. So the way that we'll be doing
Right.
web search is very similar to ChatGPT, where you can, click a button inside of the chat to enable it for web search. But then it kind of goes up the chain to where it's like, okay, well, who's allowed to enable that? Which means then there's sub-account permissions and user permissions. And then it goes one further level up where it's the SaaS configurator and permissions within the plan of that client would purchase. And the reason why we're just saying all this is to help explain kind of where the complexity of these features actually lie, rather than the actual functionality of themselves. Because OpenAI does make it easy for us to enable it, but of course we want to make sure that we're not, opening up more issues for you guys when we do something like this. We had that happen a couple years ago, and we definitely learned our lesson and making sure that we want to focus on getting everything out on that way. Is there an easy way to set up live web search through custom functions? Yes, we've had other customers do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, they also are asking for this feature as well. I believe there might be a tutorial on our docs. I can't remember. Let me see. Where am I looking? Allow functions. Hmm,
Did we develop a tutorial on
I
this? Because I
yeah,
don't
I don't.
remember us
Yeah, I don't.
using a data provider. Yes, it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
The custom functions can, in theory, do almost anything that you would could get through a web request, a normal HTTP request. You would just need to find a data provider that does web search, and then have someone or yourself write the code that kind of does that, deploy it to a platform like Replit that you can kind of hit up with your custom function, and it would just get the results of that web search. One good provider of web search data is SERP API. That's I'll put it in the chat actually. They give you the ability to programmatically search Google. There may be other providers out there though that are cheaper that I'm just not aware of.
Yeah. Tim says, great test of the alternative model function today as ChatGPT went down. Great feature. When do you expect to add Mistral? We don't have a plan for Mistral currently.
Yeah, it hasn't been really on our radar. We're not
Yeah,
sure even if they support function calling. Not really sure. We just
but
haven't had many people asking.
yeah, definitely glad that you shouted that out. I was testing that quite extensively earlier, and it was all working great for me as well. So excited to hear that functionality kind of kicked in into max today. Because basically everybody else that's just reliant on ChatGPT and OpenAI, their entire service is not functional right now, but ours is working totally fine because of Grok and Claude as backups.
Everybody's freaking out big time because it's still down actually. Like
Is it?
some of the stuff that I think the API calls are still working, but the Sora's working, but some of the other stuff is not.
Yeah. I mean, it's been ongoing for 11 hours. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Something big happening there. But it was so cool to be able to push it. We're doing an event in a couple of weeks. Again, we did the same one last year, the AI beach party in London.
Oh yeah.
We've got the bot running on the website. So to have that, still being able to have the conversation about ticket sales and all that kind of stuff
Awesome.
was super cool. So we could go out there and say straight away, well, we're not affected.
Yep.
We're good. But the Mistral question is more about the fact that it's an EU LLM
Yeah.
and having that for particularly for sort of some of the concerns that some of our clients may have around GDPR issues and where their data's stored.
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely look into it further down the road. I would say there's maybe just a handful of people that have asked for that. Do you think having Mistral would allow you to convert more customers?
it would make some of the conversations much easier with the European clients, yeah,
Yeah.
particularly the ones who are specifically European based, yeah.
Okay. Do you think that is something that they potentially would pay more for?
Yeah, I think we could with the token amount, we could probably push the rate up
Yeah.
because it's sort of a more specialized service, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not sure what the function call would be, you know, per response, whether it would be, I don't know, some of them you've got now can be as high as what, 40 cents maybe on our side, on the charge side. But I mean, Claude today, I mean, we're doing GPT 4.0 at 0.002, and the difference between that and Claude's sort of 10 times that amount. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy expensive.
yeah. So I mean, if it was in that region or maybe a little bit higher, then I don't know. I don't think it'd be a barrier, and then they've got the option. So
Yeah,
it just
definitely.
depends on your end if it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. It is more of a core functionality change because we would have like kind of the similar with the web search stuff, making it work with all existing functionality. It took us a fair amount of time to get these to work well, but now that we understand further how to do these types of integrations, it should be, you know, quote unquote, it should be easier for us to integrate. That being said, I don't think, I mean, unless Tim, you've been doing some late night Mistral research, I don't think anybody on the team really has that much experience with it, but it does seem to
Yeah,
have most of the things that we would need in order to even like approach it. So,
yeah, model lock-in is definitely becoming an issue, and it's hard to avoid because not only is there the fact that does their API support the capabilities that the other APIs support, which one key functionality is streaming, right?
hmm,
OpenAI was the first to kind of support that. And we ran into a crazy bug with Claude and how function calling works when you're streaming data rather than just getting a request and kind of waiting for the response. So, also the other problem though is once you get those technical things figured out, you have to understand, okay, what about model behavior? Does it behave similar to the other models, or is it completely crazy and doesn't behave like you expect? And you'd be surprised how many times that is the case. So, while it may seem simple, oh, just support
Sure.
Mistral because I've used their UI and I can see it working similarly. When it comes down to it, supporting it is a pretty complex thing.
Okay, good to know.
yeah.
But we do want to definitely support the EU because we do see that as, you know, one of the biggest markets in the world besides the US. And so it is definitely on our radar, as well as other things that could allow us to support the EU better and meet the kind of GDPR requirements and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Amir says, I'm also interested in because I'm in EU. Yep. Makes sense. And he says, any news on the VAT issue? Prices are showing. Yeah. So that's completed. That should be out in our next release. We're just doing internal testing on that right now.
Yeah. And that actually, what I want to mention one thing that would have been out sooner, but we've had problems with the customers, not problems, but we've had slow response times from the customers that wanted this. So we would kind of reach out to them via ticket. Hey, we need to, you know, we need to talk to you. We need to get some feedback on this. And we would hear no response. So if you guys do want this, definitely pay attention to the responses that we put in the tickets. Because when we build something like this, especially with VAT, which we as Americans have no exposure to VAT, we have to reach out. We had to get feedback from you guys because I think the way it works currently, Ross, is that they set like a percentage or something,
Yeah.
and then that VAT is applied across all their transactions. So we need feedback basically on if it's working as intended and if it solves your use case.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's basically why we are proactively reaching out to people for things like voice. That way we can encourage that feedback to happen faster and we can get out voice faster. Amir, did you have a question?
Yes, I have a technical question. I have a lot of issues to set up my microphone in the chat box in German. Everything I try to do like a voice comment, it doesn't recognize the German. How can I fix the issue, or how can I tricks out the the microphone. So like I speak something into microphone in the chat, and it's just like accepting only comments at English. How can I manage it that it also react on German language? I hope you understand my question.
Yeah,
It doesn't match. Like I'm say, tell me how old are you and what you are doing, and if they translate it, translates like something not not reasonable. You can't understand what it's like mixing those languages, and output is like not usable,
got it.
I
useful.
think we should try to debug this in the support call and maybe see what you're doing. And because we have the free dictation as well as the paid one.
Yeah, so you're
Mhm.
talking about the microphone that happens inside of the chat widget, right?
Yes, yes, like there
Yeah.
should be a microphone, and you had also the new function with attachments. And before the attachments, like there was just a microphone where you can use your voice instead of typing something.
Yeah.
And on the English language, it's in great function, but I need it in German or other languages. And then start the problem, because when I try to do something with voice, it's just reacting like on English, and then it mix everything I said, and the output is it come nothing out. It's not useful.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah, I have your email that you put into the chat. That's your email, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll open a ticket for that for you, and then we'll investigate if there's an issue on our end, or what the limitation might be, and then we'll send you an update.
Okay, it's worse than my English. And you can imagine how bad it is when I tried to set something like it's just like for the lazy people which are not ready to type, they want to do everything like with voice comment.
Yeah.
It's a buggy tricky things, because it's just like accepting the English language. That's why.
Yep.
And and to be clear, do you have a customer right now complaining about this?
No, but if I want to offer it, it should be in function. I can't give someone to testing out, and I will have like a bad, how to say, bad image if I offer something, and I want to make a presentation, try my microphone, and then it's not working. You know what I mean? Because of that, before I start offering, I want to fix that issue. Like English, everything fine, great, well, but German, it come nothing out. It's just it doesn't recognize like what I'm speaking about. It's mixing English and German, and then
Gotcha.
out comes a third language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now keep in mind, because we deployed that dictation functionality and have been surprised by how few people actually use it. My suspicion is that a lot of people are using the dictation functionalities that are already present in their existing kind of smartphone platform that they're using. They're using the operating system basically to dictate. So that may kind of solve the use case, but we certainly will investigate it and see if we can figure out or help you figure out what could be going on there.
Okay, is it on Thursday where we can maybe look over it? How where is the issue? Or what the issue is? Maybe like we have the calls, like when I understand, Tuesdays
No, we
and
have a call. Yeah, we have a call every day at 11:30 a.m. PST, and we're actually about to jump on the support call right now. And so if you want to jump on that, we can have you share your screen and try to see what it could be.
every day. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought it's like Tuesday and Thursday. So okay, we can take a look later. Just tell me when we can try it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can jump on this next call.
I'll put the link in the chat right now for it, and we're about to jump to that call right now.
Thank you.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Take care.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.